and welcome to the episode of Hallmark. I'm Kristen.
I'm Aya.
And Happy New Year!
Happy New Year. May it be
ever in your favour.
I wasn't going to go there. I was going to say positive and the vibes are good and all your, what's it called?
Resolutions.
Vision board.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I'm vision boarding.
Yes, obviously.
May all your vision board moments come true.
Yeah, I really hope so.
May you manifest the shit out of this year. I don't know. That was probably a bit extreme.
We'll check back in 12 months' time and see how you did. But for now, we're going to be telling you all about a Midnight at the Magnolia. I can't say Magnolia.
I don't know why you can't.
Midnight at the Magnolia.
It's not an easy movie title to read. Midnight at the Magnolia. Oh, I can do it. You can't.
All right, weird flex at the beginning of 2024, but that's okay.
That is a really odd flex. I can say the name of the movie.
Now, this movie came out in 2020. It can be found on Netflix. But before we go any further, what is this movie about?
So, Midnight at the Magnolia is about... it's written in the thing. Longtime friends and local radio hosts Maggie and Jack fake it as a couple for their families and listeners in hopes of getting their show syndicated. So, yes, Maggie and Jack live in Chicago, have a radio show, and apparently... people love it in other states, and a radio station wants to take it national. And one of the big kind of conversation points in their radio show is their relationships and their current relationships and how they haven't introduced them to their families. It's about to be, Christmas has just been, they need to introduce their partners to their families ASAP, and then that just becomes a thing for the radio station being this is what will help you get your show syndicated, is if you introduce your partners to your parents at not at midnight, but on a New Year's Eve party at a place called the Magnolia, which Jack and Maggie, their dads, own together, because it's all family, friends, blah, blah, blah. And then the partners break up with them and they're like, oh no, we still need to do something. So then they pretend to be in love with each other and be in a relationship with each other. Oh my gosh, after all these years.
Secretly, they've been in love this whole time.
Yeah, they're how weird that we have to pretend. But apparently it's not that weird. And then, stuff happens. The usual conflict, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just...
I think it's I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you pretend to be in a relationship with someone you have a crush on, but eventually it doesn't really end well.
Well, no, and it's not even I can't even pinpoint a moment. The guy, Jack, which we'll talk about, he kind of stuffs up a little bit, and that kind of causes it. But the reason why it's become such a big deal is because there are these actual feelings.
And feelings that have not been expressed.
No.
And then suppressed for many, many years.
Yeah. So then after they have a bit of a conflict, they still have to work together, and they eventually do this New Year's Eve radio show, and she comes clean. Maggie's we've been pretending, blah, blah, blah. He serenades her because apparently he's an amazing singer and she's always loved hearing him sing, and they kiss, they date, they get the show, and they live happily ever after.
The end. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. No, actually, this movie's quite good. I don't have a lot of notes at all.
I don't have a lot of notes. I watched this before. I probably watched it a few times.
Yeah,
actually,
this is definitely the second watch.
And I've chosen to watch it.
That's big.
So I obviously can always nitpick.
Mm-hmm. Always.
Not as nitpicky as I've been with other movies, but I've nitpicked.
Yes.
But generally,
quite good.
A good movie. I liked the script. Mm-hmm. I liked the story. I liked where we're going. It was a vibe. Yeah. And really only small things that I could. And I'm sure you feel the same.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I probably won't watch it again. I don't need to watch it again.
Yeah.
I've watched it twice now.
Yeah.
But I really like Evan Williams, who plays Jack, was in a show called Awkward on MTV, which I loved. He was so good. And Maggie, who is played by Natalie Hall, which I say that out loud and I'm like, that's so weird. There's an agency here in Queensland called Natalie Hall.
Yes.
And so I'm like, whoa!
Yeah.
But she's been in a few things. She was in Unreal, she was in the Charmed remake, she's in a lot of like similar movies. Again, this isn't a Hallmark, this is MarVista.
Yes.
So they're quite like, they're quite good actors. Do they have the best chemistry together? Not always.
No.
There are moments... There are definitely moments, but that for the most part, I feel like they don't quite click. And that would be the only downfall for me.
I agree with that. I potentially maybe wrote that in my notes. I can't remember. But I also just felt like most of the time, I found the acting... Again, I said this in A Christmas Prince, but only specifically about background extras. But in this, it felt like a theatre performance. Everything felt a bit over the like, oh my gosh, like, like just a bit, I don't even know,
even
just
when
a bit
he's
over the
down
top
on himself, like his eyelids droop and it's everything is exaggerated when you could just be like, okay.
But when there was a moment like halfway through the movie where they're just like, there's like dialogue between the two of them, and it actually was like the best acting, because it just felt like a normal conversation, and the acting was good and the chemistry was good. It was like, so that's why there were good moments where you're like, oh, this could actually be a thing.
Yeah.
But then half the time, I don't know.
Yeah, look, and again, it's just going to be little nitpicky things. It's still a great movie. You should still watch it. I think, though, if I worked with Jack, I would have a conniption.
Yeah.
He turns up at the last minute for everything. And as a radio host, he's literally walking in the door as the intro to the show is starting, and everyone's like, this is normal. I'd be like, absolutely not.
No warnings. Like, not being like, Jack, you need to...
Have you prepped for today's show?
Yeah.
Like...
I don't think they do prep. So my question, I have a few questions. I have not worked in radio. Do you know much?
I have not, but my sister did for a little while.
Okay, so vocal warm-ups and scales normal for hosts?
Look, I think if I hosted a radio show, that was like a morning show, maybe. But they don't seem to be doing a morning show. They seem to be doing like a midday show.
Right.
You know?
We don't warm up for this.
We don't. Well... No, we don't.
Do you warm up?
No, I don't.
Do you go like on the way?
No.
Okay.
I think if this was the first thing if you were the first person I was talking to today, then I might like hum a bit.
Yeah, but she was doing like scales.
She was.
And then my other question was, you've got a producer who's not producing.
Yeah, she's not producing.
She's not. She's going.
She puts her
3, 2, 1, and then she runs out of the room, and they're pressing the buttons and are in control of all the control panels. Like, we've got a caller.
Headphones. She has a set of headphones that she watches out the window. That I'm like, where are those headphones connected to, babe?
Yeah.
But yeah, they're self-producing their show,
just like us.
just like us.
But it was. I just don't believe that that's what they live in Chicago. This is like apparently quite a reputable radio station, like they get a lot of listeners. I don't think that's how things would work.
Well, they're not in a studio, but again maybe we have never ourselves worked in radio, so maybe all of that like next caller stuff does. I think the thing is that she's not filtering the call, like she's not putting the calls on hold, she's not doing anything, she's just sitting there listening
because
to them.
Maggie says, oh, we've got our first caller for today, but this first caller could be a psychopath.
Yes,
but you put this person through.
So I'm assuming that radio hosts still push buttons,
but
there's just someone on the other side just in case, and like doing the back ends.
I think the thing is, I know they just do podcasts now, but I like the kind of radio host I would listen to consistently at Hamish and Andy. And they had a team. They had Jack. And then they had like producers. So and if you go into like their social media various channels or their YouTube channel, you can see what the studio looked like. So I think that's what I had in my mind, where it's like, well, they're not doing much in terms of like pushing buttons. They literally have someone doing that for them. So I think that's what I had in my mind.
Look, if you work in radio and you'd like to tell us
Yeah.
how it's done, and if you also would like to introduce us to Hamish and Andy, we're not going to say no to it. There's no meet cute in this movie. I guess
No.
the meet cute is us meeting the characters, and that's as far as it goes, because they have been friends their entire lives.
Yes, they
There's
have been.
no new, like, even the relationships that they're already in when the movie starts. They're not meeting their partners.
No.
So I think that's the thing, is there's the montage in the beginning to show that Jack's this like laid back, easygoing, and Maggie's very detail oriented, very like pedantic kind of character, because tracks, a female can't be laid
Oh,
back.
absolutely not.
But I think for me, a lot of Jack's behavior in this movie is because everyone around him enables him.
Yeah.
They allow him. There's no repercussions for being late. There's no repercussions for being a dick. There's no repercussions for like, saying some like really strange things.
And that's
You
such
know?
a good point, because whether she brings it up or whether her family members bring it up, like moments throughout their friendship where she has very much enabled certain behavior.
Mm-hmm.
And he's obviously, I think, eventually finds out, because it was something about like he ditched her at their prom, at their formal, and went with another girl, and she kind of never said anything, and then eventually he kind of does that again.
Yeah.
With the same person, like ditches having dinner with her to go for a drink because he forgets. And that's at that point she goes no. Mm-hmm. But it's like that's the first time she's ever said no,
to him.
You're wrong, like please just go away, this is an argument, you were wrong. And
then you have to like start to, like, if we're going to put this back into a real life context, if you can't have those conversations with your friends, to be like, I don't actually agree with you on that point. And we've definitely had conversations where we're like, we don't see eye to eye, we rate movies incredibly differently on this thing. It's a better friendship. I think because there's still this weird thing about men and women can't be just friends.
Wrote that.
Men and women can't be just friends. They have to be in love with each other.
Yeah.
So because there's a crush, there's always a crush, there's always feelings because they're the opposite sex. There's no room for a truthful conversation. And that's very strange.
It is very strange. And it is kind of, I mean, even though this movie, you know, we say that, heterosexual relationships can exist, but this movie proves that
they can't.
Wrong.
Yeah.
And, her boyfriend is very, jealous of the friendship between Maggie and Jack. But you know what? I would be too. I would feel some kind of way.
I would too if it was to that extent. Like, they have a they call it the BFF power shake. And that's this, like, secret handshake that they've done
like
all of
Parent
their
Trap.
lives. Yeah. And then, like, the boyfriends walked in on Jack hugging Maggie, but in, like, a lift hug. And, like, they have inside jokes. They're constantly messaging each other.
Yeah.
And I think if that relationship, like, if a new relationship isn't introduced into that dynamic properly, they're always going to be jealous.
And I think also the fact that, in addition to what you're saying, that it's Boxing Day. The movie opens on Boxing Day, so they're about to have their, like, joint family dinner, and her boyfriend's just like,
why am I not invited?
And they've been going out for 6 months. Jack's been going out with his date. I don't even think he calls it her.
Sienna, that was her name.
Yeah, like 3 months or something. I mean, the movie tries to raise some good points around, how soon should you be introducing. They both did it wrong.
Yes.
I think like 3 months you definitely should have.
Yeah. And
at least introduced at some point. For 5 seconds even.
Yeah. But I also think they don't understand why their partners want to meet their family, and they don't understand why they are jealous of the fact that their families are so close. So Jack and Maggie have been doing this Christmas dinner together for their entire lives.
Yes.
And that's just normal to them. And it's not just like their partners are not just meeting their family, they're also meeting Maggie's family for
Yes.
Jack and Jack's family for Maggie. And so that is very confusing as to, like, why can't I just meet your dad?
Yeah.
Why can't I just meet your sister?
Yeah. They're like a package deal, and I think her boyfriend, I think his name was Hunter, he even says that. It's like, oh, so if we were to stay together, Jack's family would always be there around Christmas
we would
time.
be having Christmas with Jack's
It's kind of
family.
like, it's that package deal. Well, if you're going to meet my family, you better meet my second family, because they're always going to be around.
Yeah, and that is that is very prevalent throughout this whole movie. Of, like, you don't get a choice. I'm not, like, I hear you, but I'm not gonna really hear you.
Yeah.
This is just the way it is.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna introduce it. And Maggie says to Hunter at some point, she's like, if something was gonna happen, it would have happened by now. And I have said that about friendships in the past, and I'm like, I truly believe that. Like, if something was to happen, then it would have happened by now. But those friendships were never to the degree that this is portrayed as.
Yes.
So I'm like, are you being completely honest with yourself in that? Like, have you even tried? If your crush is this big, that it's been going since high school, and you're now in your, like, early 30s, are you being completely honest with yourself that this friendship is not sabotaging all of your other relationships, whether consciously or subconsciously?
And, like, the fact that that conversation apparently has never happened, but also there's never, if you have been friends for a really long time and you're in your early 30s, there's never been an almost kiss or, like, let's just try and see what, I mean, I don't know. I've never been in that situation, so I don't know.
I've never been in that situation where it's been, like, a 20-year friendship.
Yeah.
It's been a couple of years. And there have definitely been times I'm like, that was the moment. Like, that was the moment, we missed it. So if something was going to happen, it would have happened.
Yeah,
then,
okay.
you know? But then you move, like, I move on.
Yeah.
Maggie doesn't seem to move on.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. But also when Hunter's like, I don't understand why I can't just meet your family, and she's so dismissive of him, that I'm like, Hunter, like, do you want to be in a relationship with someone?
And then he doesn't.
No.
He listens to you, KB, and he goes, I don't want to be in this relationship, because it is weird. I can see why it would be so disheartening, and to also have your relationship blasted on live radio like that, and, like, openly saying, oh, I'm not going to introduce him, like, I would probably cry.
I would do
if I heard that.
Why didn't we have this conversation in private before we had it in public?
Yeah.
We never even meet Jack's girlfriend.
Oh, true.
We never see her. They break up too. He comes over to her house, to Maggie's house, and is like, what's her face broke up with me? And she's like, Hunter broke up with me, and then they have a moment together. And I think that's the thing, is that I've definitely seen this kind of relationship with other friends where I don't think they realized that the closeness of the relationship was potentially sabotaging other relationships. And that, like, so that's really interesting to see that on camera, because I'm like, I've seen that play out.
Yeah.
I've definitely seen that play out, but these guys are oblivious.
But would you, sorry to interrupt you, but would you, because what the family does in this movie is kind of like drop hints.
Yes.
And they kind of say things like, oh, you know, whatever they say.
Yeah.
Have you ever said anything?
Been
or
the
felt,
person dropping hints?
Yeah, or felt the need to? Because
Because
clearly the family has not said anything at all until this point.
I think it's different. Like, it's not family that it was. I think if it had been family, say it was my brother or sister, I probably would have been like, is there something something more going on here that we're not really talking about?
Yeah.
I think when it comes to friendships, it's slightly more difficult because, like, I didn't say anything because I wanted to see how it played out. And then when it played out and it didn't play out in the best way possible, it was kind of that moment of like, oh no, what I was seeing, I'm not, like, being selfish in this moment. Like, I feel like this is the point where we can talk about it now.
Can I ask, any of these friendships that you're talking about now, do they listen to this?
I don't know, so I'm trying to be very, like...
Yeah. Maybe don't turn one of these moments into a
Hey
reel.
guys, just so you know, we're going to put this on social media.
Yeah. And I am talking about you, so it's not a shock. I don't say your name, so it's fine.
But I also think that it needed to play out. Like, the way that it played out in real life is how it needed to play out in real life. And I don't think... I don't think that... Even as family members, even as friends, you can give your advice and you can say how you feel, but at the end of the day, the people involved have to be the ones that make the decision, right?
Yeah.
They need to be like, this is the best thing for me, or this is not for me at all. And so, yeah, I think even if we had said something, I don't think it would have changed the outcome.
Yeah.
I don't think anything would have gone any differently.
Well, because you could say something and a person would be like, well, okay, I'm not going to listen to you, and then they just
they do the
continue
same thing anyway.
on the path that they were going to go on anyway.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Jack at one point says, meeting the parents is like Bowser's castle in like Super Mario Brothers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I was like, that is, I guess, like if we have to like put it into gaming terms, that's not a bad analogy. But it's sad that that's how you feel about your family.
Yeah.
And they keep talking the whole movie about how their family's crazy. But at no point do we see how
I did not witness any crazy behaviour.
They're loving,
caring,
and attentive.
Yeah. And they care. And, yeah, good. I would want to be in that family.
They're very happy, positive, loving people
Yeah.
that are excited by their jobs, by their children's jobs, by their children's lives. Like, there's no point where they're... I was like... I want to talk to the people who wrote this movie.
Yeah.
And be like, are your families like this family? Because we have some questions.
Yeah.
You know.
Also, just like to point out that the family, there's a widow.
There is.
As per usual, it's the wife that's gone because you couldn't possibly leave a man and a woman or a woman to run a business.
No.
If
The
her
two
husband
dads
passed away.
own the Magnolia.
Yeah.
Not a dad and a mum.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
I feel there's a second thing about this movie, and it just kind of gives me the ick in that Jack and Maggie are so focused on their professional gain.
Oh, yeah.
That they are happy to use their partners,
Oh.
they're happy to use their family, they're happy to use each other
Yeah.
to get where they need to go.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, there are many people out in the world that are like that. But I think seeing it in a Hallmark type movie, this is not a Hallmark movie, is kind of like, it feels weird.
But also, would would a company really be like, hey, so, I mean, they probably would, because if you're already putting it out there by your own, you've made that choice to put it out there yourself. Of course, like a radio company is going to be a radio company.
A radio company.
A radio corporation is going to be like, good, keep doing that,
Yeah.
but on a national level. So I was about to say, but the radio company, why do I keep calling it a radio company? Radio station.
I can't say Magnolia. You
The radio companies, I felt like it was like, well, why would you force like a couple to, talk about their personal life so much? But they did that
to the point that they create an event for them to introduce their partners to their family.
I mean, it's kind of weird. It is still weird, but they can only blame themselves because they talked about it so much that it was kind of like the logic thing. Well, it probably wasn't logical. It wouldn't be the first thing I'd think of.
No.
But some kind of meeting the parents in some kind of big, I don't know, extravaganza on a radio show, sure, but I wouldn't expect it to be midnight at the Magnolia.
No, I can't say it. So I'm not gonna say it. I just wrote, the old fake relationship when you have real feelings.
Yeah.
Again, so nitpicky. It's so nitpicky, but the invitations go out for the midnight party. And it's just black and gold, and it's very classy. But there's no photo of them on this invitation. Like, it's a poster.
Yeah.
That's going out about a radio station event.
Yeah.
And the hosts aren't pictured. I feel like maybe radio advertising is really gaudy here in Australia.
Well, because we always have people's faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would always have been on that invitation.
Absolutely.
And if not, the logo of the radio station would have been on that invitation. But it was just a normal Canva style.
Here's the thing. When we get down to attention to detail in these movies, it is lacking. They're not thinking this. Like, the props design is going to be like, now, what would their actual radio show poster look like? Like, there wouldn't be that level of detail.
Get me into the props department.
I know. Dear and MarVista, if you need, like, consultants, like, to just, like, give us a script, be like, and we can write notes.
Yeah,
and be like, have you thought about this?
Yeah.
Make sure you do this.
Yeah.
This would make production so much better.
I know that you only film in a week and a half to 2 weeks, but, like, let us have it.
Yeah, but, like, to your point of, like, if they put it together in Canva, you can put something that, like, that makes sense in Canva.
You can. Do you know what doesn't make sense? Maggie's house.
Why?
It's beautiful. It's
she
so
lives on
big.
a main road.
She's on a main road, but she's got this huge apartment that she lives in on her own.
Yeah, that's true. She does live... I did think that. I was like, oh, you live in a nice house. And then I immediately thought, how much do you earn?
Yes. That is exactly what I thought.
Okay, good.
That are like, okay, maybe you are like the leading radio host in Chicago of this small radio station, but are you really earning enough money to buy this house, or is this just like us looking at the Australian housing market being like, we're in dire straits and everywhere else is fine?
I mean, I'd love to know how much, like, a radio host in Chicago would be earning. Maybe they do earn good money.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Let us know if you live in Chicago.
I just feel like if you're I mean, it depends on how notable they are. Because walking around, no one recognizes them. So they're clearly not notable enough that people be like, oh, you're from the radio show, love you. So, I don't know. I feel like they wouldn't earn too much.
They also have a very niche radio show. Like, do they really have... Like, it was like us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're a bit niche, I guess.
When am I... Oh, I said bold assumption he wants to propose dad. So Maggie's dad pulls Jack aside.
Yeah.
And is like, I need you to carry these crates of drinks into the venue. And Jack's dad's like, I've been here the whole time. I could have done that. And he takes him out to the car and he presents Maggie's mother's rings.
Yeah.
And is like... this is me giving you permission. You don't have to do it now, but this is me giving you permission to propose when you're ready to propose.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, they've been in a fake relationship
for like 2 days.
Yeah.
Like, not long.
Not long at all. And yes, they've known each other their whole lives, but that's a like big old bold assumption.
But the families have been waiting for this to happen for so long, which is again just like, why didn't you say anything? And why are you only kind of saying something now?
Yeah.
But yeah, they were expecting it. Do you know what her dad does say to Jack? Yeah, no, her dad says to Jack, and I think this is in that moment, you're going steady.
Yeah.
Oh.
You're going steady.
We're in the 50s in
with
this
my
movie.
daughter.
We're going steady. My wife's dead, and I'm alive, and only I can run this business, and you're going steady with my daughter.
Well, I think, like, going back to the fact that everybody in their family wanted this to happen, but nobody said anything. But
no
like,
one.
Maggie is never honest whenever Jack hurts her.
No.
And Jack is oblivious because Jack is all about Jack.
Yes.
There are some really nice moments that, like, she's sad, so he takes her out for the day. Like, there are some nice moments. But for the most part, he's a narcissist.
Yeah.
So, like, it's... just really interesting. I think it's just really interesting.
Well, it's like, so I kind of touched on it earlier. He ditched her to go to the formal, I'm going to call it a formal, with some, I don't know, Bianca.
Yeah,
Bianca.
Yeah.
And then, you know, that was years ago, and Maggie never brought it up with him.
No.
And so he doesn't know how she feels about that. And then cut to this movie, and he runs into her on the street, and they're like, let's grab a drink, and he's meant to be meeting Maggie for dinner. he forgets.
Yeah, so this is the anniversary of her mother passing away.
Yeah.
So that is why it's important for her that he is there.
Yeah.
And he forgets.
Yeah.
He forgets this big moment.
Yeah, it's a bit of a dick move. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, I gotta go. I completely forgot.
We're also in 2020. This movie is only 3 years old. Mobile phones existed.
Yeah.
Like
did she call him?
Did she
to check?
call him? Did
he call her to be like, oh my gosh,
I'm so sorry, I'm on my way right now? No, he just turns up to her house.
Yeah,
did
phones don't exist in this movie for
pop
sure.
up in calendar? No, it did not.
No.
You know, that I'm just like, no.
But it kind of like, he doesn't, in a way, at this point, maybe by the end he does deserve her, but at this point he doesn't deserve her.
No.
Because he can't even, he's so infatuated by this person who he hasn't seen in years. He, like, completely forgets about her.
Well, it's not until
she doesn't
Bianca
exist.
says...
Her name.
Yeah, how is Maggie going? Also, I heard her crying and, like, I'm going to tell you that she was upset that you didn't take her to prom. I've always felt bad about it, and so I want to, like, clear the air. I'm so sorry that happened. And he's like, what are you talking about? She's like, she was crying in the bathroom. Like, he's like, no, Maggie didn't care. And she's like, she was in love with you. You were in love with her. Why do you think I broke up with her? And it took, like, that moment for him to be like, oh.
Yeah.
Maybe this is something more.
He's very, like, he's not aware of his surroundings. He's very selfish. Yeah. But also, she's never said anything to... No, I'm not excusing...
No.
But, yeah.
And, like, you don't have to tell everyone you have a crush on them you have a crush on them.
No.
In fact, most of the time, it's probably better that you don't.
Yeah.
But when you are working that closely together, your families are that close, you're going to see this person every day for the rest of your life.
But I also just don't get why they're so shocked every time someone says something.
Yeah.
It's like, I have feelings. I love them? What?
I don't know what love feels like.
It was just like the shock every time someone said something. Like, are you serious? He likes me? Please. I find it really hard to believe that they didn't subconsciously or even privately and internally acknowledge and be like, or even like, and if they did, like, then the script would change and be like, well, we're better off as friends. I don't want to ruin that friendship.
No.
Or something like that. Like, that never happened. It was more like,
it's
what? No?
Why don't all of your relationships work out? It's quite fine to be like, oh, I just haven't found someone that I like as much as I like Jack.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's kind of my bar.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Or I haven't found someone that I like as much as I like Maggie. Like, spending time with them or being around them, even if it's just their friend.
Yeah.
That's fine, but it's not. It's always like, oh, I'm just like, I'm not ready to commit to something, or I'm like...
Or even just being like, look, I like this person I'm with, but honestly, like, the person I feel the strongest connection to is Maggie or Jack.
Yeah. Wow. Anyway, speaking of, in the middle of their midnight party, the Magnolia. I can't say it. She has this moment where she's like, I'm coming clean.
Yeah.
We're about to do the countdown. She's like, I can't hold it anymore. We've been pretending to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Has this meant... Oh, no, this was when he came over. He came over after Bianca's like, what the heck, dude? Why are you here if you're meant to be there? And he runs over and she's like, it just hasn't... Has this meant anything to you? And I'm like, girl, you're pretending to be
what was
in a
it
relationship.
meant to mean? Yeah.
It's not meant to mean anything according to both of you. And if it does mean something, then you need to talk about it.
You need to talk about it, for sure.
If they're pressing the buttons, why is she counting down? That's back to the producer. That happens like 3 times.
Yeah, it does happen. The producer just keeps going 3, 2, 1, and then Maggie's the one going click. It's so bizarre.
And then I'm just like, why is it that the women are always so petty? So like, once Jack doesn't turn up for this dinner, Maggie ignores him.
Yeah.
She barely talks to him in their radio show.
Yeah.
She doesn't acknowledge that he wants to, and he's like, can we please talk about this? Like, I know that I've messed up. I need to tell you that I know that I've messed up. I want to talk this through with you. And she's like, nah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but I'm wondering how I would behave. Would I just be like, give me a moment? I don't even know what I would do.
But if it's of your own making, I think if this was like...
Yeah.
She's had many opportunities to be like, don't do that again. But she doesn't say that.
Yes.
She never says, hey, what you just did hurt me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's true.
He should be the one being like, I'm so sorry, and groveling, because he has messed up.
Yeah.
But I don't think her ignoring him makes her better.
Yeah. No, that's true. Yeah. Okay.
I would probably avoid. I wouldn't be like, I'm giving you the cold shoulder. I'd just be like, I can't deal with these emotions, and I don't want to see you.
I wonder if I would say, look, we're going to do this show, and we're going to be professional, and that's it.
But right now, I don't want to be around you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, like, when I'm ready to talk about it, we'll talk about it. But right now, give me some space.
Yes. But, like, conduct yourself professionally. At the end of the day, this is your fault. Both of your faults.
Yeah. I don't have any more notes for this movie.
I don't have any more notes either. I mean, I don't know if we say... Like, the end was fine. Like, they come clean.
Yeah.
She comes clean, and then he sings her a song. And that was really sweet. And then they kiss, and
they live happily ever after.
And he proposes to her. It's
a year after.
A year after, and it's really nice.
Which I like too. The fact that even though they've known each other
they
forever,
still dated for a while.
They still dated for a year.
Yeah.
I'm like, none of this 2 week bully.
Yeah. It was, fine. I didn't have any other notes after that.
No.
It just wrapped up nicely, I think. No thoughts, no notes.
No thoughts.
I mean, I'm sure I had thoughts, but no major notes.
Yeah, again, I've said a lot of things. But again, I know that this is not real life.
Yeah. What?
We're not watching a reality TV movie.
I know.
But it was very easy to write 3 things that I liked about this movie. I liked the dads. I think the dads are cute. I like how sweet they are. Everything, like, they always have these, like, little sparkly eyes every time they're on screen. It's really nice. I liked that it was best friends forever turned into true love kind of deal, because we don't see that a lot in these kinds of movies, if ever. And it's a fun New Year's premise, like a radio show party. Like, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was a good time.
Yeah, it's kind of almost similar to you. Yeah. I liked that it focused on New Year's. It was still like kind of... So I didn't count Christmas trees, even though there were some Christmas trees. It was that kind of like, period, that crimbo limbo period, between Christmas and New Year's. It's something, you don't often get.
No.
It was just a nice angle, and it wasn't about having a deadline before Christmas. I'm so over those.
Yeah.
As we continue
Until
to watch
the rest of this year.
And I thought the script was good. Yeah. I don't remember there being any like cringe lines. Like, some choices were made, character wise, but script wise, I thought it was quite good.
Yeah.
And then it's similar to you. I liked the storyline. I liked that it was like the friends, BFFs, and then that they fall in love.
The dream.
It's just, I mean...
How easy would things be?
Yeah. It's, like, slightly predictable in a way, obviously.
Yes.
But it was nice to watch, because, it's just refreshing. You don't see that often.
No.
It's always, you own this bakery? What? In my town?
Ugh.
I've got to develop this app before Christmas, and I haven't even started it.
Hello, boss, on Christmas Day? Yes, I will take the raise. Thank you so much.
So, like, stuff like that. It's like, oh, shut up. It gets old. We've done a lot of movies.
We're about to do a lot of more.
Yeah. But even when you think about, like, non-Christmas festive-related movies, there aren't that many that involve friends.
No. There's been a couple
as
of,
the
like,
romantic.
People who already know each other, but they haven't been, like, besties.
Yeah, or, like, the one where... What was the one we watched a couple of weeks ago? I want to say Autumn Dreams. Is that where they were married at 18 and then thought they got an annulment, but they didn't. Yeah, like, that's kind of like... And I think even then we thought that was a bit different.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was bad.
No.
Obviously... We've nitpicked,
but that's what we do best.
Yeah. Exactly.
We know our strengths.
Yeah.
I have rated this 7 out of 10.
So have I. My question to you is
it the same as
Christmas Prince?
And for me, yes, but in different ways.
Right.
Is A Christmas Prince tacky as all hell?
Yes.
Yes, it is. And that is why it got a 7. Why?
Oh, you saw that as a positive. Okay. Right.
Haven't we built a podcast on tacky movies?
I know, but I rate tacky movies. I'm like, I don't want it.
I hate to tell you this.
I know.
But there are so many more in your future.
I know. We've watched extra ones for fun.
We have. You can find
How
our
sad.
mini reviews on TikTok.
Yeah, we have more stuff on Instagram and TikTok.
But for me, I think being the second watch through of this movie and not wanting to watch it again, I feel like puts it in that kind of same boat as A Christmas Prince. That although I liked it, I think it's a better movie than some of the ones we've watched previously. I wouldn't put it above. Maybe I put it on par with like A Perfect Pairing and The Good Witch, but we've only rated those a 7.5. You know, like
Or what is? Have we given anything a 7?
No, everything's 7.5
or 8.
I'd say like The Mistletoe Promise for me is still a better movie than this.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah, I would watch Mistletoe Promise. Do you know what I recommended Mistletoe Promise the other day?
Did you?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, because I was like, if someone's going to watch, like, a Hallmark Christmas movie, out of all the ones that I've watched, you know, that we haven't done, a podcast episode on, I would probably recommend Mistletoe Promise.
It's a great movie.
It's a strong movie.
It's very strong. And I think I wouldn't say the same thing about Midnight at the Magnolia as
true.
I would about The Mistletoe Promise.
Yeah.
And so even though A Christmas Prince for me, I'm like, if you want to go down the Netflix Christmas original route, I feel like you have to start with A Christmas Prince.
Right.
Because then they get better from there.
Oh,
you
no,
know,
they don't.
They do. I mean, we rated Falling for Christmas an 8.5.
Yeah, but then you've got to remember a Princess Switch.
Yeah.
You think...
I think A Princess Switch sits in the middle. I mean, we did, on average, A Christmas Prince is at 5.5. So between 5.5 and 8.5.
I don't want to start reading Princess Switch, because we will eventually do that. That's...
Next Christmas,
Interesting.
find out. Stay with us for 12 more months.
We'll be reviewing Princess Switch next year.
But, yeah, I think for me, because I feel like Jack is only likable because of Maggie. And for that reason, this movie is getting a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, right.
Me.
Okay.
And A Christmas Prince, I'm like, at least the dynamic of the two of them are fine, and it's just the writing that's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, though, I would rather... And this is why it's fine to have different opinions with your friends. I rate this high just because I found just the storyline and script more enjoyable, and I wasn't, like, literally cringing and, like, curling up while watching it.
That's why I watch these movies.
I know. I know.
But we rated the same thing, so it's still a 7.
Yeah, that's true.
And The Christmas Princess is 5.5.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Do you think we should have talked about this in the other episode, but now that I'm more talking about Princess Prince now, because we've now reviewed Midnight at the Magnolia. Yeah. Was I too harsh with a 4 out of 10?
I mean, that's the biggest jump we've ever had between you and I, 4 and 7. But I don't... Like, I'm not going to tell you that you've rated a movie...
Well...
badly. Yeah. It's a subjective rating.
And the thing is, what's happened previously is we've seen each other's ratings and changed it, or we've then spoken about this has definitely happened to me. I've spoken about the movie and gone, actually, I think I was being too harsh. Yeah. Because I hear your points... And I go, no, that's true. That's fair.
But that didn't happen for A Christmas Prince.
It did not.
I would say that a 4 out of 10 is a 4 out of 10.
It is. And you know what? I don't feel the need to change it. Keep it. Lock it in.
Keep it. And if you haven't listened to the episode of The Christmas Prince, you can find it wherever you get your podcasts, like you did with this episode and whatever we watch next. If you would like to tell us what to watch next.
We don't know what we're going to watch
We don't know what we're going to watch next. It's a new year.
Yeah, something new yearish. No, not new yearish, but something good. Okay,
Fingers crossed.
I shouldn't have said that.
We're going to start really high this year.
It's probably not going to be good. I don't know why I said that.
But if you have any suggestions, you can let us know on Instagram or TikTok at HallmarkedPod. We do have a few mini episodes from over the Christmas period on our TikTok and our Instagram. So if you want to check those out for anything that you're like, I wish you had done this movie, you can email us at hallmarkedpod@gmail.com.
Yep.
Or you just wave us down.
Yeah,
when
like
you
if you
see
see us, because if you're in Australia,
anywhere in Australia,
if you're in Brisbane and you see us, you're like, oi,
you were wrong. A Christmas Prince deserved a 10.
Oh god, no. I don't think anyone's that delusional.
Guys, it's okay if you think it's a 10.
No. It's not okay, according to me.
We're going to keep debating this, but we'll stop the recording here and let you go. We will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.